Hello everyone, good evening. And this is our project tomato plant leaf disease detection. And these are our team members. And these are the contents of our project and the abstract of this project. Diseases in plants cause major production and economic losses as well as reduction in both quality and quantity. Nowadays, plant disease detection has received increasing attention in monitoring the large field of crops. Farmers experiences the great difficulties in switching or detecting the diseases from one policy to another. The naked eye observations of experts is the traditional approach adapted in practice for detection and identification of plant diseases. In this project, we need a simple plant list for the detection of the system. Introduction. The primary occupation in India is agriculture. India ranks second in the agriculture. So in Andhra Pradesh state, we mainly use the crops like paddy and tomato. So here we choose the tomato plant. So here the food security remains threatened by a number of factors, and one of those factors is plant disease. And in the developing world, more than 80% of the agricultural production is generated by the smallhold farmers only. And in this plant disease detection can be done by observing the spot on the leaves of the affected plant. This method we are adapting to detect plant diseases is image processing using convolutional neural network. Existing system. In this existing method for plant disease detection is simply naked eye observation by experts, and they identify the diseases and detect the plant diseases. So here we need a large team of experts for monitoring the plant diseases. At the same time, in some countries, farmers do not have proper facilities and they don't have any idea how to contact the experts too. And the plant disease detection is by visual way is more laborious task, at the same time less accurate and can be done only in limited areas. This is the drawbacks of existing system. It is difficult to detect and identify diseases. It takes more time, requires extensive knowledge and skills about plant diseases. And this is the proposed system. So in this proposed system, we use deep learning technologies, and that uses the convolutional neural network. So then different types of image processing techniques we are applied on this convolutional neural network. So to process those images to get different and useful features needed for the purposing for analyzing data. And here we uses 5 types of data modules, that is image acquisition, image segmentation, feature extraction, and disease identification. These are the advantages of proposed system. Easy to implement and quite good in result. Prediction accuracy is high, easy to use. It takes less time to identify and detect the diseases.
System requirements. To execute this project, we need a hardware requirements such as a minimum of 4 GB RAM and i3 processor and a 512 GB hard disk, and software requirements like operating system Windows 10, and we use the technologies like Python 3.6, HTML and CSS, and we used a framework called Flask framework, and we run this project in PyCharm IDE, and we use a tool called Anaconda 3, and this project will run in web browsers like Microsoft browser or Chrome.
And this is the proposed design of convolutional neural network. So here we give image. So here we give the plant, the leaf, tomato plant leaf. This is here we give the input image, and this input image is processed as filters, and these filters contains the pixels. The pixels are the raw building blocks of images, and the filters are refers to the detection of images in 3x3 dimensional format. So here, whenever this input image is fed into this convolutional neural network, in this convolutional neural network we have 3 layers, that is convolution layer and pooling layer, fully connected layer. In this convolution layer, we use the ReLU algorithm. So this convolution layer refers to the filtering process, and the ReLU means rectified linear unit. It is an activation function. The negative values in the filters are replaced with 0. And now we are going with pooling layer. The input of the convolution layer is fed as the the output of the convolution layer is fed as the input to the pooling layer. So in this pooling layer, it refers to the extraction of image features and to reduce the spatial data size. And here we use a maximum pooling. In this maximum pooling, it selects the maximum pixel from the filters for accurate prediction. So the output of the pooling layer is fed as the input to the fully connected layer. In this fully connected layer, it is used to perform classification of images with the data set. So here we use the three data sets, that is train data set, validation data set, and test data set. The test data set is used for testing purposes. And these are the modules existers in this project, and that is data acquisition, data pre-processing, feature extraction, training models and testing, user interface modules. So here in this diagram, uh, the image is given using the image is given from the test data set, and we upload the image in you upload the image from the data set, and it is gone through the pre-processing. This pre-processing is divided into two data sets, that is training data set and as well as testing data set. So here the training data set uses the convolution neural network. After performing the convolution neural network processing, and it is fed into that output is fed as to the input to the testing data set. Now we upload the image, and the image is classified and the plant disease is detected. Data acquisition. Appropriate data sets are required at all stages of object recognition research, starting from the training phase to evaluating the performance of recognition algorithms. In order to distinguish healthy leaves from the diseased ones, one more class was added in the dataset. It contains only images of healthy leaves. Next step, to enrich the dataset with augmented images. We use perspective transformation and simple image rotation for augmentation of the image. And these are the images that is affected by the diseases. These are the types of diseases. Some of the diseases are target spot, mosaic virus, bacterial spot, late blight, leaf mold, yellow leaf curl virus, etc. And data pre-processing. Although data is obtained, it still contains some noise which requires attention to improve the subsequent steps of the system. Data pre-processing is a process of converting or mapping data from the initial raw form into another format in order to prepare the data for further analysis. Procedure for image pre-processing involved cropping of all images manually, making the square around the leaves in order to highlight the region of interest. Feature extraction. The co-occurrence features are calculated after mapping the RGB components of the input image to the thresholded images. So the disease and healthy parts of the leaves are separated using segmentation techniques. After that, different distinguishable features are extracted based on color and intensity value of image pixels of the leaf image. And this is data pre-processing. Training modules and testing. Training the deep convolution neural network for making an image classification model from a dataset was proposed. The dataset is pre-processed such as image reshaping, resizing, and conversion to an array form. So the trained dataset is used to train the model CNN so that it can identify the test image, and this is it has. For the accuracy, tenfold cross-validation technique was used. User interface modules, upload image, and prediction. The user has to upload an image and the prediction. After the model is trained successfully, the software can identify the disease if the plant species is contained in the dataset.
UML diagrams. The UML diagrams we used in this project are class diagram, use case diagram, sequence diagram, collaboration diagram, activity diagram, component diagram, and deployment diagram. Class diagram. The class diagram is a static diagram. It represents the static view of an application. And class diagram is not only used for visualizing, describing, and documenting different aspects of a system, but also for constructing executable code of the software application. The main purpose of class diagram is to model the static view of an application. Class diagrams are the only diagrams which can be identified and directly mapped with object-oriented languages. The use case diagram. The main purpose of this use case diagram is to capture the dynamic aspect of a system. And use case diagrams are used to gather the requirements of a system, including internal and external influences. These requirements are mostly design requirements. Hence, when a system is analyzed to gather its functionalities, use cases are prepared and actors are identified. And sequence diagram. The sequence diagram represents the flow of message in the system and is also termed as an event diagram. It helps in envisioning several dynamic scenarios. It portrays the communication between any two lifelines as a time-ordered sequence of events, such as that these lifelines took part at runtime. And the main purpose of the sequence diagram is to model high-level interaction among active objects within a system and to model interaction objects inside a collaboration realizing a use case. It either model generic interactions or some certain instances of interaction. And collaboration diagram. And this collaboration diagram is used to show the relationship between the objects in a system. Both the sequence and collaboration diagram represent the same information, but in different manner. In sequence diagram, the the, the diagram will show the flow of messages, but in collaboration diagram, it depicts the architecture of the object residing in the system as it is based on the object-oriented programming. Activity diagram. And this activity diagram is another important diagram in UML. It is used to describe the dynamic aspects of a system. Activity diagram is basically a flowchart to represent the flow from one activity to another activity. The activity can be described as an operation of the system. The basic purpose of activity diagram is similar to other four diagrams. It captures the dynamic behavior of the system, and the other four diagrams are used to store the message flow from one object to another object. And component diagram. And this component diagram is used to break down a large object-oriented system into the smaller components so as to make them more manageable. It models the physical view of a system such as executable files, libraries, etc. that resides within the node. It visualizes the relationships as well as the organization between the components present in the system. The deployment diagram. This deployment diagram visualizes the physical hardware on which the software will be deployed. It portrays the static development view of a system. It involves the nodes and their relationships. The main purpose of the deployment diagram is to represent how software is installed on the hardware component, and it depicts in what manner a software interacts with the hardware to perform its execution. In conclusion, and there are many methods in automated or computer vision plant disease detection and classification process, but still this research field is lacking. In this project, a new approach of using deep learning method was explored in order to automatically classify and detect plant diseases from leaf images. This developed model will detect leaf presence and distinguish between the healthy leaves and different diseases, which can be visually diagnosed. And these are the references of our project. And thank you.